hello everyone. This is Neha Soni and I am your social science teacher. So, how are you all? And you know very well that we have started with history from class 6 and today we are going to start chapter number 3, that is in the earliest city. So, do you want to know how ancient man was living their lifestyle and what are the areas of their livelihood? So, we will talk about the story of Harappa and I will tell you about Harappa. So, here we begin this chapter. Okay. So, saving an old building. So, you know very well each and every chapter is introduced by a young boy or a girl. So, here are two boys, you can see Jaspal and Harpreet. Okay. So, Jaspal and Harpreet were playing cricket in the lane outside their home. Okay, they were playing cricket when they noticed the people who were admiring the dilapidated old building. Means dilapidated means damaged. Okay, so damaged old building that the children call the haunted house. Have you ever visited any tourist place? Here they were talking about the dilapidated old building and people who were admiring this building. Okay, so one of them said, "Look at the architecture," said one of the men, and "Have you seen the fine wood carving?" asked one of the women. Okay, so now we must write to the minister so that she makes arrangements to repair. Okay, so some of them they said that we must write to the minister so that she can make arrangements to repair the building and preserve this beautiful house. When you have noticed that children used to call this haunted house and they were telling this a beautiful house. Why? Why they wondered? Because would anybody be interested in the old rundown house? So, this is the question of the two boys and they were asking that would anybody be interested in the damaged building? Is it? Yes. Do you have any interest in damaged building? If you have visit any tourist place, so you can see there were architectures, designing of the building, the making of building and the history of that place. We have to understand the importance of and the relevant of the place. So, that is why the people used to tell this a beautiful house and the children who were not aware of the importance of this place, they were call it haunted house. So, now if I talk about the story of Harappa, so do you want to know about Harappa? And yes, Harappa was the earliest city of Indus Valley civilization, was flourished on the banks of Indus and its tributaries. Do you know about this? So, let us start the story of Harappa. Nearly 150 years ago, when railway lines were being laid down for the first time in the Punjab, and engineers stumbled upon the site of Harappa in present day Pakistan. ये जब की बात है जब हमारे यहाँ लगभग 150 या 160 सालों पहले भारत में सबसे पहले रेलवे लाइन की जो लाइनें हैं वे बिछाई जा रही थी और उस समय जो इंजीनियर्स थे उन्होंने इस स्थल की जो रिमेन्स थे, जो अवशेष थे, उन्हें देखा. नेक्स्ट, it seems like a mound. Mound means like tila, that was a rich source of ready-made high quality bricks. Okay, high quality bricks were there. So, they found there ready-made high quality bricks were there, and to build railway lines many old buildings of the city were completely destroyed. So, how they become destroyed? Because by the mistakes of engineers, because they did not recognize it very early period of that time. So, the buildings of the city were completely destroyed. And if I talk about now, we know that now we should know that then about 80 years ago archaeologists found this site. Okay, so again archaeologists have found this site around about 80 years ago. Okay, and Harappa was one of the oldest city in this subcontinent, and you know very well that the earliest city of India and Indian subcontinent was Harappa, and it was flourished on the banks of the Indus and its tributaries. So all other sites from where similar building and other things were found were described as Harappan. So now we can say this, the other sites are Harappan sites. Okay, and these cities developed around 4700 years ago, and now you know very well around 4700 years ago the earliest cities were developed and flourished on the banks of Indus and its tributaries. So we are talking about Harappa now. So specialities of these cities, like Harappan cities, what were the characteristics of this city? So these cities were mostly divided into two parts. Okay, so these cities were mostly divided into two parts. Okay, the eastern part, it means if we have to go on our right side, you can understand this eastern part and western part. Okay, so here western part, and at the same time some cities are also found classified into more than two parts. Some cities have been divided into more than two parts, like three parts. Okay, so we will discuss about these cities also. So next, if we talk about eastern part, the eastern part, it was the larger part. Okay, so the eastern part was the larger part, but was located in the lower part. It means, so the western part should be in higher altitude. So the eastern part was larger part, but it was located at in the lower part. Okay, and archaeologists have also called it the lower city, or you can say lower town. So it was the lower town where people used to live. Okay, and if we talk about western part, so this was a small part but was situated at a higher altitude, and I tell you about this, that it was a western part and it was a smaller part but it was on higher altitude. Okay, and the archaeologists name it Nagardurg, or you can say citadel. Okay, so it was around like this. Okay, both of the parts were surrounded by a wall. So next, if we talk about, both the parts were surrounded by a wall made of bricks. So as we know that the ready-made high quality bricks were found by the engineers that time. So the wall was made of bricks and which are still standing in the form of ruins. Okay, अब जो है उनके कुछ अवशेष हैं वो अभी भी वहाँ पे हमें देखने को मिलते हैं. So here these cities are part of modern Pakistan's Punjab and Sindh province. Okay, so पंजाब और सिंध जो पाकिस्तान के वर्तमान में प्रांत हैं उनके यहाँ ये जो सिटी है ये और इसके जो अवशेष हैं वो देखे जा सकते हैं. And here a map is given to you for your understanding. So if we talk about the Harappan cities and the Indus Valley civilization, so here the first destination is Harappa and it is near about the Ravi river. Okay, and if we talk about Mohenjo-daro, okay, and it is located at near the Indus river. And if we talk about the other place were Dholavira, Lothal, Sutka Khoho and Surkotda. So and ये गमरीवाला, कालीबंगा in Rajasthan, Rakhigadi in Haryana, and these are the tributaries of Indus river you can see. So now these cities are the part of modern Pakistan. So modern Pakistan means जो अब after independence जो है पाकिस्तान जो separate हो गया इंडिया से, उसमें ये cities located है, जैसे हम देख सकते हैं in Punjab and Sindh province of Pakistan, and found in Punjab of India, and also found in the Punjab of India and Haryana, Rajasthan and Gujarat. So we have talked about that the Rakhigadi was situated in Haryana, Kalibanga and other in Rajasthan, and if we talk about Mohenjo-daro and Sutka Koh, they are in Pakistan. And if we talk about Dholavira, Surkotada and Lothal, these are located in Gujarat now. So next, if we talk about that they made some buildings, some special buildings in the city fort of some cities. So जो city fort था like this आप देख सकते हैं, it was the western part of the city, and here you can see lower part and you can see lower town. So made some special building in the city fort of some cities. जो city fort है उन पे कुछ special buildings भी दिखाई देती हैं. And if we talk about these, the remains of special buildings were tank, like we have found a big tank there on the citadel at Mohenjo-daro. And if we talk about Mohenjo-daro, so we found a big tank there at the citadel in Mohenjo-daro have been found there, and which archaeologists have called the Great Bath. Okay, the Great Bath. So you can see a picture over here, and it is a picture of Great Bath which were found by the archaeologists, okay, on citadel at Mohenjo-daro. So it was a big tank and people used to bath in this tank. Next, use of bricks and plaster in construction of a bathroom. So they use brick and they used to plaster on the brick and in the construction of bathroom and to prevent water leakage. So if they want to make them waterproof, so to prevent water leakage they use layer of charcoal and you can say natural tar on the top of plaster. So you can see the technology were there, like if they want to prevent water leakage they use layer of charcoal like natural tar were there. So the wall of this tank was covered with the layer of charcoal or you can say natural tar. Next, in these bath stairs were made to descend. Okay, so you can see some stairs were there to descend from two sides, like from here and from here. So some stairs are given, and if we talk about rooms were built at all around, and there were some rooms were built at all around, and water was drawn from the well. To fill this tank they drawn water from the well, and after use they drain out the water. So the water was drained out after use. Presumably special citizens, like if I talk about the citizens who were special citizens, used to take bath here on some special occasions. So special citizens used to take bath over here on some special occasions. And next, fire pits, and we have talked about and we have discussed about the fire pits where people used to warm themselves. So they use fire pits, and fire pits found in other cities like Kalibanga in Rajasthan, Lothal in Gujarat, where sacrifices may have been performed, and there were lots of sacrifices were performed there. And large storehouses have also been found in some cities like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and Lothal. So people used to store their grains and some other items, so they used large storehouses, and we found the storehouses at Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and Lothal. And if we talk about like the houses, the buildings, the drain system, drains and streets like road, and we have to see this like in Harappa. A picture is given to you, like you can see a wall of bricks, and you can see bricks are interlocking. Okay, so the making of this wall was very good, and the structure of the wall, and you can see how bricks were connected. So the houses are made in these towns, the houses are made in these towns are usually 1 or 2 stories. So ये जो है एक मंजिला या 2 मंजिला हमें घर यहाँ देखने को मिलते हैं. एंड रूम्स वर बिल्ट अराउंड द कोर्टयार्ड. सो if I draw for you, so if I will draw it later, rooms were built around the courtyard of the house, and most of the house had a separate bathroom. And now you can see it was a urban civilization, so there were all facilities were there, and like courtyard and rooms were built around the courtyard and separate bathroom, the drainage system. Okay, and some houses also had wells. So कुछ घरों में हमें कुएं देखने को भी मिले हैं. So let's begin it. If I draw a house for you, like here you can see better. So here in middle of the house there were a courtyard and rooms were built around the courtyard. So here are some rooms, and this is a entrance of the house, and you can see like some in the corner some houses have wells also. So the drains in these cities were mostly covered. So you can see a picture is given to you, the drain system, and the drains were mostly covered and they are in straight lines. So and constructed in straight lines. So as I talk, and in light shield, a light shield was used in each drain. Okay, a light shield was used in each drain. So and it allows the water to flow smoothly. So it allows the water to flow smoothly. So a light shade was used in the drains. Okay, so like आप यहाँ से देख सकते हैं इस तरह से उनका जो घरों का पानी है वो ड्रेन सिस्टम जो है वो इस तरह से लाइक बाहर जाता है और वो स्ट्रीट की जो ड्रेन लाइंस हैं उसमें कनेक्ट हो जाता है. एंड स्ट्रीट की ड्रेन लाइंस हमने देखी हैं, ये मोस्टली जो है कवर्ड है, एंड यहाँ पे जो ये हाउस है इससे ये यहाँ कनेक्ट हो रहा है. सो द dirty water of the house and the drains were connected in the street drain system, and the drains and these drains are connected to the stream drains. So the drains of house were connected to the stream drains and which later joined the larger drains. So जैसे हमने देखा like some rooms are built around the courtyard, and there is a well also. And if we talk about the drain system, so drain of the houses were connected into street drains, and street drains were connected and joined with the larger drains, and जो street drains है वो larger drains में connect होती हैं, और जो larger drains है वो बाद में चैम्बर के रूप में लाइक मैन होल्स के रूप में वे इसे यूज़ करते हैं. And manholes were made from place to place for the maintenance and clearing of the drains. And you can see some manholes were given to clean the drainage and the drain system, and to maintenance it they use these manholes. So like in this house, the drains of the house were connected in street drains, and street drains they connected in large drains, and the large drains manholes were there to clean and maintenance the drainage. So this was all about in this chapter, and we have understood how the drainage system were there in Harappa civilization, and people use these kind of ready made and you can see very high quality brick to make wall, and they use charcoal like natural tar to build the wall water leakage proof. And if I talk about the cities were urban civilization, and it was divided in two parts, like eastern part, okay, and in western part. And if we talk about western part, it was on higher altitude, but it was smaller, and we call this Nagar Durg, or you can say citadel. And if we talk about the eastern part, it was larger but was in lower altitude, so that is why we call it lower town. Okay. So, it was all about in this part of this video, and I think you have developed your understanding how people were used to live in Harappa cities, and they were very urbanized, and they were very good at their techniques and their skills. So, we will meet in our next class, and then we will understand about the other cities of Harappan civilization. Till then, take care of your health and studies. Good day, my dear.